What's been going on with Sky Gods? Find out now. I hope you all had a great start to the new year. Really got a lot of stuff to catch up with it, so let's get right into it. It has been a couple of months since my last update, and a ton of stuff has happened since then. Literally, I've been talking to a lot of people about the show. Obviously, I have to try to make it happen somehow. I've done a lot of like rewriting stuff, like rethinking stuff. Obviously, if I want to commit like that much time to something and that much effort into something, I better think about it, quite a bit. And things have changed a little bit. So let me start out. What's the biggest change? I actually lowered the season count from 6 episodes to 4 episodes. Of course, would I want to do 10 episodes? Sure. Is it feasible time-wise? No. I mean, the whole point is that I'm going to be doing this more or less on my own. So I have to calculate out, how much time is it going to take to do X amounts of drawings and X amounts of time, and what is that going to cost? And I think one of the reasons is also that I sort of like, I kind of shortened the storyline a little bit, basically made it a little bit less convoluted, let's call it that. Some people have told me that it's just way out of hand. I've been, building this world now for a year and a half, and it's gotten completely out of control. There's too many characters, too many storylines, too many things going on because, like every writer, you want to put everything at the kitchen sink, but the kitchen sink in it. So I basically lowered the episode counts for season 1 to 4 episodes, which is still gonna allow me to bring the main storyline across. And if it's a success, then I'll probably have 8 episodes or like 10 episodes next time. But for now, I just gonna have to get started somehow. And also, like, especially considering I'm working on a trailer now, one of the big things has been like this switch in software. Now that's a little bit geeky for some of you, and you don't really care, as long as it looks good. But for me, that's actually quite a major big deal. I had really prepared sort of like a Toon Boom, After Effects, Photoshop combo, and now I'm actually switching to a software called OpenToons. I've been aware of Toons, which is, OpenToons is sort of like the open source version of Toons. Toons is an Italian software. It's been around for about 20 plus years. It's a high-end software that a lot of the Don Bluth movies have been made of. And also like the Studio Ghibli films, like Princess Mononoke, Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, and so on. So it's a very capable software that actually has been available now as open source software for free. And it pretty much does everything that Toon Boom does. It's a little more complex in some regards. But, I only needed to do one specific part, which is mostly the animation and the ink and paint. After the ink and paint, I'm going to take everything into After Effects anyway and do all the compositing, because After Effects just is a much better compositing software than most of those standalone animation software. So, trailers on the way. I will probably post them. I said that last time, but I'm probably going to post the animatic for the trailer and some storyboards frame here. Which brings me to the next point. I open a Patreon's account. Now, those of you who know what Patreon is, it's essentially like a platform where you can support, your favorite content creators. Patreon has become somewhat under fire for censoring people. There was some big scandal, I think it was like 3 months ago, where they fired one guy for making some racial comment on some other website. And Patreon has become somewhat of a liability in that regard, but it's still better. The software pretty much works pretty well, and I want to get this started. Obviously, there hasn't been that much activity. I think I do have about 40 posts or 50 posts. But the important part is that, I'm going to talk about this in a minute. A lot of the things that I will be, producing in the next few months will only be available on Patreon, or much easier to get over Patreon. Which brings me to the point. We do have quite a bit of merchandise lined up. Some of it already has been published. Some of it will be published soon. Let's start with the most exciting ones, and those are the books. I've hinted at the graphic novel adaptation. It's actually not an adaptation, the graphic novel version of Sky Gods. Now let me explain a little bit about this basically, because GODZ was from the beginning on supposed to be a transmedia project. Now transmedia is something that has like different media. They're all interconnected into the same storyline. Like, for example, what Star Wars has been doing for a long time, but Star Wars has been sort of doing it after the fact. They started out with the first 3 movies, and they didn't really know where they were going to go with it. And then they kept adding to it and adding to it, adding to it. And I'm in a position where I can actually think the big picture first and then start puzzling things together. So the graphic novel is not going to be a straight ahead adaptation of the animated series, but more so is going to be its own thing. So the graphic novel is going to be the way I see it right now, is going to be a 3-parter. First part's going to be available in October, and it will be serialized on Patreon. Now the graphic novel is going to have 2 versions basically. There's going to be the full version that's going to be in the actual graphic novel, which is going to be a typical French style hardcover graphic novel, and there will be a line webtoon version, which is basically a puzzled cut together version, made specifically for line. And there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be missing. And so if you really want to read the graphic novel ahead of time and actually get the book, Patreon is the way to go. You can also order the book eventually then over the website, but you're not going to be able to preview it. 2 other things, 2 other books that are planned this year. Very, very interesting. You obviously have seen the concept sketches I've been posting on Instagram, Facebook, and so on. Also like some here on YouTube. And I'm going to show some in the background. Will be collected in art books. So I'll have 2 art books planned this year, with each about 84 pages. The first art book is going to be published May 1st. It's already pretty much done. Just working on some of the graphic design stuff. And that will be a hardcover graphic novel, like it's a horizontal format. And contains some of the best sketches basically of the last year and a half. And that will be really nice because you finally get to see nice and large, not just like a tiny little Instagram pictures or Facebook pictures or whatnot. Also, those books can be bought over Patreon, and then of course over the website. Also on Patreon, I already have 2 older graphic novels of mine. They're also sort of like about aliens and fantasy stuff available for download right now. So go head over to Patreon and you can sign up and you can get those downloaded right away. Then another piece of merchandise I really wanted to do was mugs. I really don't want to do like any merchandise before the show hits because it's sort of pointless. You shouldn't really do merchandise before you actually have a product to show. But one of the things I really wanted, also like for my own selfish purposes, was mugs. So I had this idea of like this series of Ashtar mugs. So I just basically designed it, and I've chosen a company called Society 6. They seem by far the best company in terms of quality, in terms of shipping, in terms of customer service, and so on and so on. So I've uploaded the mugs there, and obviously I'll show them to you in the background, and you can order them. They're really, really nice looking, and I ordered a set for myself. So I guess in the next update, I'll be drinking coffee from those Ashtar mugs. This is series 1. I will be making a series 2. The series 2 might not be about Ashtar. It might be about the Anunnaki main characters. But I'll definitely continue that just because, it's easy to do. It's a lot of fun. And I think mugs are a really good value and they're of high quality. Another things that I actually found over an anime website was this plate. This plate are like metal posters. They range from like the smaller ones, like, they're a little smaller, a little larger than 8.5 by 11 to 11 by 17 and really, really large. And those are like prints on metal posters. They're really, really nice. You got to go check that out, but frankly, that's going to be it, with the merchandise for now. I'm going to eventually work on some t-shirts, but I'm not going to release any t-shirts until the show is done. I kind of don't really want to do what a lot of people do a lot of like the merchandise stuff because frankly nobody's really buying this stuff unless the show becomes some kind of a success and the property is of any interest. So that does it for the merchandise things. I will eventually, I think I'm gonna actually do that very soon. I'm gonna maybe do a live stream. I do have a live stream capability now on YouTube. They approved it. Live stream with Q&A. because I do get a lot of questions, and I do get a lot of questions on social media and on YouTube. People want to talk about things. People have questions about release dates and blah blah blah, technical issues. And I think the best way to do this would be to do a live stream. So I think what you should do is, if you have any question that you want answered, just post below, or post on any of the Instagram, Facebook, Tumblr, any social media where GODZ is involved, and just ask a question, and I will try to collect them all and then answer them on a live stream. I'm going to try to do that relatively soon, over the next couple of weeks. Because one of the questions that always comes up is, where can I see this? When can I see this? And my answer is always, of course, you probably noticed on some of these social media thing, it's now season 1 2020. Well, frankly, it was always supposed to be 2020. I just figured maybe, well, if I get a head start on it, I'll be able to finish earlier. But that's obviously not going to happen right now, because if I wasn't going to be in production by January, which I'm not, in full production, then it wasn't going to happen in 2000. That'll be a good thing. But obviously the idea is, as soon as possible, as fast as humanly possible, in the quality that I have in my mind. Now you got to consider, and I know I keep saying that, basically this is a independent, non-corporate project. So there is no like millions and millions of DC or Marvel or Funimation money behind it, basically. So it's basically just one guy doing his thing. Obviously I do have some help, but it's still basically me, carrying most of the load. And yeah, of course I want it out. I want it out yesterday. I'm Aries. I always want out everything yesterday, but sometimes that's just not the way things happen. And trust me, I'll do my best to work as fast as humanly possible. There will be a lot more time. So thank you all for listening to this, and please don't forget to post your questions, and I will try to answer them in the next live stream. Until the next update, thank you so much. Bye.